Dragon Ball Z Sagas. Another game that went under the radar for most people, but one I played a lot as a child. The first real 3D adventure Dragon Ball game way before DBZ Kakarot came around and reminded everyone that DBZ can be made into more than just fighting games. That being said though, this game is probably the reason why they took so long to make a new adventure style game, because although this is a cherished game for me and actually introduced me into the world of Dragon Ball, this game is actually pretty ass. Dragon Ball Z Sagas is considered to be one of the worst, if not the worst, Dragon Ball game, and was a commercial failure when it launched all the way back in 2005. It was developed by Avalanche Software and published by Atari and released on the PlayStation 2, original Xbox, and GameCube. As I said before, this game wasn't very popular, and was nowhere near as fun as the other games for the systems like the Budokai Tenkaichi series. But to be fair, this game was nowhere near the same gameplay wise. This game is a linear beat 'em up type game that consists of 1 to 2 players, fighting through the DBZ sagas from fighting Raditz to Perfect Cell. I have a little footage of the co-op, but I mainly played through this on my own, not wanting to drag anyone else through the mud with me, even though this game is pretty short. It took me about 2 hours to beat this game. It only contains 7 sagas, which sounds like it could be a lot of levels, but each saga has between 5 and 1 levels. There's also 3 different difficulties you could play it on, but the only real difference in difficulty is how much health the bosses have, and how much of a sponge they are, which honestly the bosses are the main attraction of the levels. Not to say the level design is too terribly awful or anything. Early on the levels definitely feel different with unique vibes and areas, but they soon turn into reused assets, especially when you reach the android sections. But at the least, the levels aren't too completely barren. In each level, there are items hidden around the level, such as capsules and Z-coins, usually in the corners or inside rocks, but mostly in the air where you can't exactly reach them. You see, the only type of puzzle or platforming you do in this game is just finding the tallest part of the map, jumping off of it, and flying back through the linear level to collect all the items floating in the sky you missed earlier. So yeah, pretty much just backtracking. Now, what do the items do? Well, there are 2 types of capsules, for health and ki, and when you flip the sidebar with them from level to level, your health or ki bar will be raised permanently. Alongside the capsules, you can find sensu beans for extra lives, and Z coins for purchasing a ton of new and unique abilities at these Z zones. And by a ton of unique abilities, I mean some lackluster basic ass abilities like a grab or a roundhouse kick. The first mission you have is actually gather enough Z coins to purchase the one and only ki attack you can get for every character. Of course, for Goku this is the Kamehameha, Vegeta is the Gallic Gun, Gohan the Masenko, etc. It goes on. This of course is your strongest attack, but mechanically is primarily used to destroy boulders. Yep, besides your basic ki blast, this is the only special move you get in the entire game. And it works the same for every character. It even slows down everyone on the screen when you use it too, including player 1 or 2 if you're in co-op. Other than that, you just use basic punches and kicks for simple combos, and that's pretty much the combat. Now that we went over the game design and the fighting mechanics, let's get into the story mode, which is pretty much the only game mode. Each section is split up into sagas, starting off with the Saiyan Saga, and of course the first level is Raditz's. But before we talk about that, I gotta commend this game on probably the best part, which are the cutscenes. These cutscenes are pretty much how I watched DBZ the first time as a kid. They're pretty quick, but they go over the events of the show between each level and between some battles. These are pretty stylistic with the OG narrator talking while the characters talk in the background showing actual clips from the TV show. These are mostly well done, and there's even a reanimated recap of OG Dragon Ball at the beginning. Yeah, I mean the animation is pretty trash, but I mean what do you expect from a game like this? They're doing their best.
Well, that's not Vegeta. What the fuck?
But anyways, starting in the first level before you get to Raditz, you have to fight off some basic enemies, which are of course Cybermen. Why he run like he got shit in his pants? Now, if you watch Dragon Ball, you know that there are not that many fodder enemies the good guys fight besides Cybermen, which only showed up one time, and there were like 6 of them. So this game definitely had to beef up the numbers a little bit, as well as add new variations. Which brings us to the pre-cum Cybermen, weaker than normal ones and are orange, and also the red Cybermen, which are also weak but can throw ki blasts. Only other thing they can do is blow themselves up, so they do what Cybermen do. Pretty basic enemies, but there are some other basic enemies that show up later in the game that are actually more unique and are only unique to this game, as well as a whole new boss character that I thought was pretty dope. Anyways, we'll get more into that later as we go along. After you blast through like 4 waves of these guys, you finally get to Raditz, who is probably the most basic boss in the whole game.
Don't mess with me!
Every other boss in the game has at least one unique move, but all Raditz does is hop backwards. He's pretty easy, and all the difficulty settings do is pretty much just add health, just making these fights take longer in the long run. And that's not so much a good thing. Maybe if the combat was a lot more in-depth, and you could do more special moves, it'd be funner to play in harder difficulties, but all it does is waste time, to be honest. About every battle just goes the same way. You do basic combos to push enemies back, and then when they're on the ground, you launch your special attack. Rinse, repeat. I tried to spruce it up a little bit by doing, different types of combos and quote-unquote special moves like the roundhouse kick, but they don't really change too much. Only real difference is the bosses and how they do their special moves. If you ever try to launch your special attack without them being on the ground, the CPU will always dodge that shit automatically, for some reason. And these fuckers are constantly blocking your shit too. It's not just the bosses either. You really start to see this shit in level 2, where you gotta fight the actual Cybermen, the green ones. This level is also the first one to introduce the collecting quests, usually Dragon Balls, just like this one. The goal is to fly around as Gohan, if it's single player, and fight Cybermen and collect the 7 Dragon Balls to wish back Goku, and then of course fight Nappa. But there's also 2 variants of Cybermen introduced, which is the most interesting part of the level. You get purple ones with the big ass foreheads that spawn new Cybermen when other ones are killed, and you get these giant blue ones that act as bruiser types, that also shoot blasts like the Wraiths from Halo. I thought these dudes had an actual cool design, to be honest, and they weren't just a recolor, and being that I played this game before seeing these parts in the actual show, I was pretty disappointed to find out that these blue Cybermen forms weren't actually in the show. Pretty disappointing. But after fighting your way through all the Cybermen and Cyberwomen, you get to Nappa, who pretty much fights like Raditz.
Out of my way!
And he's got some kind of electric stun ability too, giving me the impression as a kid that this dude had like electric powers, and the yellow armor didn't help. And come to find out, he does not have electric powers. He didn't really do anything like that. Oh shit, I don't remember him doing that. Gave me a fucking seizure. Anyways, this leads to level 3 and the final stage of the Saiyan Saga, the Vegeta level. This is another type of level you'll see a few times in the game. These levels don't have any exploring or beat 'em up type elements. It's just cut straight into a boss fight. These fights are okay, but that's all it is, it's just another normal boss fight, if you're in single player at least. It's a little different in multiplayer. Instead of fighting a boss at the same time, with 2 characters, you switch off with a timer, which is just fucking annoying. The game does this because most of the regular levels are trying to be somewhat show accurate, only having levels where 2 characters are fighting, hence, Goku and Piccolo versus Raditz, and Gohan and Piccolo versus Nappa. So some of these boss levels only have 1 character switch off, because apparently Goku was the only one fighting Vegeta. Screw Gohan, Krillin, and Yajirobe, they definitely weren't there. And it wouldn't make sense to have 2 Gokus fighting each other. We can't have that in our game. Let's just do the worst possible way to do multiplayer fights by switching it off the timer. Anyways, the Vegeta fight is pretty annoying and is the first difficult thing you gotta overcome. Vegeta just has some annoying ass attacks like this tornado that spawns on top of you, railing you from behind, without the ability to block or dodge it. Dude, I don't even know what you're doing to me. And you're gonna be hearing this dude spam Gallic Gun every 2 seconds. Whoa, okay. Oh yeah, you gotta charge up. What, you? But when you get him close enough to death, you finish him off with a Spirit Bomb that was nowhere near this big in the actual show.
I need more power for the Spirit Bomb!
This then leads into the next section of the game, the Namek Saga. More specifically, the Ginyu Saga. Yeah, you remember Zarbon and Dodoria? Yeah, fuck them. They skip over those guys real quick in this game. And you know what? Forget Guldo too. This game just skips the Raccoon. Most of the Ginyu Saga and Frieza Saga are structured the same visually and gameplay wise. Especially visually though. The Ginyu Saga has 3 levels. The Raccoon level, which takes you through a fully destructible Namekian village. You know, take that as you will. Fighting off Frieza soldiers that pretty much all look and fight the same. Only difference is the blue ones are basic and the red ones can call in more soldiers. The best part about this level is you can finally play as Vegeta. But unfortunately, as per the usual with the boss characters becoming playable, he's not as cracked as he was fighting against them, and loses his tornado ability entirely. But he still has his basic blast attack, which is a Gallic Gun.
What we got? Gallic Gun or Final Flash? Of course.
And it stays a Gallic Gun throughout the entirety of the game. So you better get used to it. You want to see a Final Flash? Nope. You want to see Big Bang Attack? Fuck no. Only Gallic Gun. But what do you make of the Raccoon?
You're playing with the big boys now.
Oh my god, run that shit by me again, Raccoon?
It's pretty much just another basic enemy with his only special move being a ground pound because, you know, he's a big guy. I took him down though with my signature technique.
Never finish your combos.
Just don't finish your combos.
At least move your legs, man. Fucking Raccoon's got Ultra Instinct. How did you miss every shot? I wasn't even moving. Nut shot, nut shot, nut shot, nut shot. I'm gonna finish this off with a nut kick. Ah, nut kick.
Next is the Captain Ginyu level, which gameplay wise is more unique, making you fight all the Ginyu Force members minus Guldo and of course Raccoon. Starting you off against a tag team fight with Birder and Jace, who periodically switch off and can be annoying as shit doing so because they can just fly in from the side off the screen and hit you in the middle of your combos.
Ah, you fucking whore.
Their only special moves are their individual ki blasts, which respectively for Jace is red and Birder for blue, you know, but they can come together to make a swirly spiral attack that always reminded me of Ring Pops.
Not this super raspberry swirl.
After killing Birder, Jace flies away as per the anime, and you gotta follow him while encountering another enemy. I would call this type of enemy another basic enemy, but he only shows up this one time, this green lizard guy.
Who the fuck are you?
So I guess he's kind of a mini-boss, but he goes down just the same as the rest of them. So he's almost not even worth talking about. But once you catch up to Jace, you end up just fighting Captain Ginyu, and Jace doesn't even help. Can you guess what Captain Ginyu's special attack is? If you guess digging, fuck you, cause you're right. I guess because he has horns he can dig. I don't know how much sense that makes, but I mean it doesn't matter. If you're like an inch off the ground just flying, he can't hit you. After the Ginyu boss fight, you go into the 6th level finishing off the Ginyu Saga by having a one-on-one fight with Ginyu Goku, mirroring the earlier fight you had with Vegeta, but reverse. Only difference is Ginyu Goku doesn't have any annoying bullshit like Vegeta with his tornado technique, but has Jace annoying ass throw a little ki blast off the sideline every now and then.
Jace, you motherfucker.
Anyways, it's a pretty basic fight. Let's just move on to the Frieza Saga, which is 2 levels. The first level is the only escort protect level in the game, having you protect Dende as you escort him through the long ass and tedious area. Get your fat ass over here, man. And then guard him as he moves the Dragon Balls to a safer location.
Don't you touch him, you little motherfuckers. He's just a kid.
Only interesting aspect of this fight is the introduction of another enemy type, which is like this guy who can call in UFO airstrikes to hit you from above.
What the fuck?
Okay, kinda interesting. After you fuck all them up, you end off the level with a fight against First Form Frieza, who then transforms into Second Form Frieza halfway through the fight. Unlike other boss fights, this one doesn't have a health bar. Instead, it's a countdown waiting for Piccolo to show up, even though you don't get to play as him in the next level. Depending on the difficulty, this could be good or bad. On easy, it sucks because no matter what, it's going to take a while. On hard, it's probably the best fight because it won't take 30 minutes to an hour. This is kind of a weird level for Vegeta though, considering you're guarding Dende. This could have easily just been a Gohan level, or even Krillin, considering he also fights second form Frieza, but instead he is reserved for player 2, and you just play as Vegeta most of the time. Kinda shitty how if you're doing single player you can't even choose a character, you can only choose if there are 2 players. Anyways, after the fight, you pretty much skip over third form Frieza and go straight to the final battle between Super Saiyan Goku and final form Frieza on the hellscape that is erupting Namek. This is another one-on-one battle, but this one introduces the mechanic of transformations. 12 million.
To the next dimension.
This is probably the worst transformation mechanic in any game I've ever played. So pretty much, you have a meter below your guy that builds up with every successful melee hit you pull off, and when it's full, you charge up to transform. Once transformed, the bar slowly goes down, and once completely depleted, you're powered down to base form. The thing with Frieza though is he can only be hurt in Super Saiyan, but at least you start out in Super Saiyan unlike a later boss fight. So if you're fast enough, you can sweep him before you power down, ending the fight pretty fast.
Frieza is defeated, but the victory comes at a high price.
But Frieza's got some unique moves, I guess, like the double Destructo Disc and giant death ball that follows you.
Oh shit!
But he's honestly pretty easy, and you can take him down pretty fast first wave of Super Saiyan. It's only annoying if you lose Super Saiyan and trying to build it back up to fight him again. After defeating Frieza, you go into the next saga, and probably the single most interesting and creative thing in this whole game.
Goku on Yardrat.
This game is the only game that I'm aware of that actually has a dedicated level or fight to when Goku was on Yardrat. You know, the planet he was on for like a year? This is all unique to this game, and this character you fight is not from the anime or anything. His name is Soba, who I think has an actual cool design and gimmick. He's depicted as a tall blue Yardratian, I guess you'd call them, with a ninja face mask, and he's also missing an eye. All the game says about this guy is this, though.
As he prepares to embark on a long and difficult journey home, he must put those skills to the test.
Yeah, pretty much nothing except that it's a test for Goku. He actually has some unique moves though, like turning into mist, blending in with his background, and his aura and Ki Blast colors seem to have a unique animation, where it looks like he's throwing blue thunderclouds. And on top of that, he's got his own unique henchman type enemies too, that appears nowhere else in the game. It's kind of weird because besides these guys, there's only 3 enemy types in the game. Cybermen, Frieza soldiers, and androids. So these guys are actually pretty interesting. They pretty much behave like sharks, swimming through the mist, lunging at you given the chance. This whole level is pretty awesome and interesting, and I wish more Dragon Ball Z games would dive into this concept of Yardrat and other unique aspects of Dragon Ball instead of recapping the whole regular story over and over again. And this guy's concept is pretty interesting and could definitely be made canon due to us never actually seeing Goku's time while on Yardrat, which is pretty insane. I mean, he spent over a year there. That being said, that's the best praise this game will get, and moving on from here, the game gets a little less unique. The next saga is the Future Trunks Saga, where you play as young Trunks in the future, walking through the city fighting androids. These sections are my least favorite part of the game, because the next 3 levels all look like this and play the same way. Oh my god, they're literally just staring at me. At least the Namek sections have slightly different landscapes and shit, but these city sections all have this straight linear look, with the only difference between the first and second Future Trunks levels being that the first level is sunny, and the second level is rainy. And the first level has you fight Android 17,
I'm going to get you.
whereas the second level has you fight 17 and 18. Oh shit.
I'm going to get you.
Oh dude, you said that last time, with their only unique super attack being this. Oh you mother... And you fight these guys the most of any other bosses in the game, making them the worst and repetitive boss. At the same time, the basic androids you fight alongside them are probably the worst enemies in the game too. There are silver and gold androids with no distinguishable differences between them. There's also a big android that looks a little, dude, why does his face look like that? What? They're also annoying as fuck, releasing bomb robots that follow you around. And when they explode, they leave you in a slow animation of falling in an explosion. They're just annoying. The most interesting part about the basic androids is the fact that they fall apart as you fight them, either losing their arms or their whole ass torso. That's about all I gotta say about the androids, to be honest. This is a weird saga to have playable too, and it feels like filler. It's just weird introducing the Super Saiyan feature and then backtracking, playing these two levels as Trunks who can and go Super Saiyan. I just feel like this arc should have been replaced with the Mecha Frieza saga, but that shit just gets skipped right over. Instead, you hop right into the 5th saga of the game, the Android Saga. And the first level of the Android Saga is the absolute shittiest and worst level of the game, just because it's bland, boring, and doesn't have a boss. This is the only level that doesn't have a boss too, and it's just going through the city area, which you just did twice as Trunks. The only difference is this time you play as Goku. It's pretty shit, and the least memorable level in the whole game. The next level is a little bit better, having you play as Super Saiyan Vegeta for the first time, and starting you off straight into the fight with Android 19.
You're nothing! I'll crush you!
Even though you got Dr. Gero's annoying ass throwing ki blasts at you from the side, this is the easiest fight in the whole game. In fact, I didn't even realize you're supposed to protect Goku in this section just because Super Saiyan Vegeta melts Android 19's health so fast. But this is another level that has multiple fights, so after you beat 19, Gero runs away into the canyon, having you follow him and fighting androids along the way. Just for you to get to the road where you fight the true boss level, Android 18, who you'll be fighting for the second time in this game.
I'm trying, Bulma.
The third and final level of the Android Saga is a fight one-on-one against Android 17, which will be the third time fighting his ass. The only cool part about this level is that it's the only Piccolo-centric level in the game where you play as him.
Oh, it's you again. Don't you ever give up.
Ow, what the fuck?
And it actually treats his Super Namekian form, which he got from fusing with Kami, as an actual transformation, which Dragon Ball shit never does. And the environment's cool too. This level being pretty cool, taking place on a tropical island and having a volcano erupt from behind, having lava occasionally fall from the sky, acting as hazards. Definitely should have been a Cell fight though. I mean, you fight 17 3 times in this game. You know how many times you fight First Form Cell? 0. It seems like a fucking shit move to me. But anyways, this leads to the final saga of the game, the Cell Saga, which also has the most levels, capping at 5, even though half of these are barely even levels. The first level is one of 2 that play very similarly. These sections both take place in the Time Chamber, the first being with Trunks and Vegeta in a white room, and the second being Goku and Gohan in a room that looks like it's in the middle of a sunset or something for some reason. These both have the same unique goal of finishing combos that appear on the screen before your opponents do. At first it was frustrating as shit because Vegeta kept breaking my combos. You suck, Vegeta. And then whenever I tried to break his combos, it just didn't work.
No. Fuck, dude.
I was doing the goddamn combo breaker, you dirty little slut. But whenever I fought against Goku as Gohan, I realized that you can just walk away from them and then quickly walk back to get back into your combo without letting them even start theirs. You can cheese it, which I did, but I mean this game's pretty cheesable anyway. That aside, I thought the levels were pretty interesting and at least gives a little difference between some level variety, you know, so I guess kudos to you developers. You made 2 levels that are kind of different. Well, this takes us to the next level, which is the usual gameplay, and the only level in the Cell Saga that actually feels like an actual level. This one takes place on a couple of islands that you hover around as Vegeta fighting Cybermen. Dude. Cybermen was an odd choice to have here. I mean, we haven't seen Cybermen since the Nappa level. Now all of a sudden Cell has them. My guess is the developers just threw them there because Cell and the Cybermen look kind of similar, being green and kind of bug-like. But I don't see why they couldn't just give Cell some kind of like Proto-Cell Juniors or something as basic enemies here. I mean, they gave fucking that Yardrat guy basic enemies for a level that was even shorter than this, so I don't know. I guess they just decided, fuck it, let's just use Cybermen. Let's get this game over with. Anyway, this level has 2 fights. First you fight Imperfect Cell, and he flies away, and then at the end you fight Final Form, Perfect Cell. Okay. Which is he's actually pretty strong because Super Saiyan doesn't melt his health away like every other boss in the game. Even though he's beefier, he still doesn't seem much of a threat.
Is this guy not gonna follow me around? Can I just spam this? I guess so. Ow.
After defeating him, this is where the Goku training level would be, but we already went over that, so let's just skip over to the second to last level of the game, which pretty much just has you fighting 6 Cell Juniors on a small dirt area next to the battle stage. God, they look so horrible. What's up with their heads, man? Yeah, you don't even get to use the battle stage here to fight them. And these guys are more annoying than a challenge. You just have these 6 dudes bum rushing you, canceling your combos and shit. But at least you have the roundhouse kick, which is your best friend here. Moving on from that, you enter the final level of the game, and the final boss of the game, Perfect Cell. Or Super Perfect Cell, or Cell Perfect Form, or whatever the fuck you call them. This shit is the most annoying boss fight though I've probably ever fought.
I will rule the universe.
And as a kid, I never even fucking beat him. His fight is a lot like the Frieza fight in terms of only being able to hurt him in a transformed state. For Frieza, it was Super Saiyan, whereas for Cell, it's Super Saiyan 2. Which, unfortunately for anyone playing this, is a giant fucking hassle to transform into. Super Saiyan is easy, you just gotta hit combos until your bar raises, and then you can transform. In the Cell fight, it's almost the same, but to go Super Saiyan 2, you gotta go Super Saiyan 1. But being Super Saiyan 1 drains your transformation bar super fast, so you have to be constantly trying to pull combos on Cell, who loves to block, combo break, and push you away, depleting your bar. It seems like your bar drains faster than raising it too. And not to mention, when that shit gets charged up, you have a few seconds to find a spot and power up, while also hoping Cell doesn't stop you mid-transformation. Because if you wait too long, the bar will start to deplete again. And on top of having glitches happen like this... Where am I? Dude, what? Oh, are you fucking kidding me? Are you fucking kidding me, you son of a bitch? Dude. Oh my god, dude. This whole battle was a sweat fest and just the opposite of fun. But after a long and tedious battle, I finally got Super Saiyan 2 and beat the ever-loving shit out of Cell. Dude, transitioning into his second phase, if you can even call it that. It's just a cutscene that goes into him having like a little bit of health, and all you gotta do is land one Kamehameha on him, and then you completed the game, beat the final boss. Perfect Cell, everybody, the worst final boss in history. So yeah, that's the game, and if you're wondering if there's any other bonus content, there is. After completing the game, you get Pendulum Mode, which is pretty much just playing the story but with whatever character you want. The only cool part about this is that there's some characters here that you never even saw in the story mode, like their models or anything, but they're here. I mean, they could have had some unique levels with these characters, you know, like Krillin, Yamcha, Tien, even Bardock. But the coolest one by far is fucking Broly.
Broly!
They got Broly here for some reason, the only movie character. I guess Bardock might be, but Broly is just insane because he's constantly Super Saiyan. He doesn't power down. He's always in that state. And look how fucking yoked he is. He's just massive and towers over every other character in the game. That's how we fucking do it. I don't know why, but in Broly's icon down there, it looks like he's wearing like a sundress. So playing him does feel like playing as the boss character, which is kind of fun. But other than that, I mean, there's not much else to this. I mean, that's the whole game right there. Overall, I mean, I had a nostalgia trip playing through this game, but I can't deny that it is pretty awful. I like the idea of an action-adventure beat-em-up type Dragon Ball game that's different than your typical fighting game that Dragon Ball is presented as like 90% of the time. But this game just had a pretty lackluster delivery with a short campaign, no character variety, and poorly designed battle mechanics. Well, anyways, that was my nasty analysis for Dragon Ball Z Sagas. And if you had any experiences with this game, please let me know about it in the comments. And on that note, thanks for watching this video and staying till the end if you did. And I hope you guys have a nasty night. And stay tuned for my next nasty analysis. See ya, boys. Everyone walks around like they just splatter all in their fucking diapers.